Here is something that nobody tells men, and honestly, it's almost criminal that this information has been kept from you for this long. There is a woman in your life right now. Maybe she's a coworker, maybe she's a friend, maybe she's someone you've been talking to for weeks, and she has already decided she wants you. She has already played out entire scenarios in her head. She has already thought about what it would be like to be with you. And yet, she hasn't said a single word. Not one. And here's what's wild. This is not rare. This is standard female behavior. Studies in social psychology show that women typically make an emotional decision about a romantic partner before they ever make it known. They choose first. They tell you later, sometimes much, much later, and if you don't know what to look for, you'll miss the window entirely. You'll friend zone yourself. You'll move on. And she'll spend the next 3 years watching you date someone else and wondering why you never made a move. So stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how she tells you, without telling you. Hello, and welcome back. My name is and I want to start today with a confession. I used to think that when a woman was interested in someone, she would just say it. Simple, right? Maybe drop a hint. Maybe be obvious about it. Maybe just walk up and say, "Hey, I think you're great. Let's grab coffee." Yeah, that is adorable that I thought that. The truth is far more fascinating and far more complicated. Women are wired, both biologically and socially, to test before they confess. It's not manipulation. It's not a game. It is a deeply embedded survival mechanism that goes back thousands of years, and it shows up in the most ordinary, everyday moments. The problem is, most men don't speak this language. And because they don't, they walk away from perfectly good opportunities thinking the woman wasn't interested, when in reality, she was practically screaming it from the rooftop in a dialect they just didn't understand. This was shocking to me when I first really sat with the research. Dr. Monica Moore from Webster University conducted an extensive study observing women in social settings and found that women initiate romantic interest through nonverbal signals in over 90% of early-stage attraction scenarios. 90%, which means the words are almost never the first move, the signals are. So today, I'm going to walk you through 4 of the clearest, most consistent signs that a woman has already chosen you and is just waiting to see if you'll catch on. These aren't vague, fuzzy feelings. These are real, documented behavioral patterns that women display when they've made up their minds and are daring you to notice. Let's get into it. Pay close attention to this one, because this is the sign that most men walk right past without a second thought. You casually mentioned weeks ago that your favorite childhood cereal was Cocoa Puffs. You don't even remember saying it. It was a throwaway comment in the middle of a conversation about something completely unrelated. Then one morning, she shows up with a box of Cocoa Puffs and says, "I don't know, I just saw it and thought of you." Let me explain how massive that moment actually is. When a woman is romantically interested in someone, her brain enters what psychologists call a hyper-encoding state around that person. Essentially, every little thing you say gets flagged, stored, and filed away for future reference. She's not taking notes consciously, it just happens. Because when you care about someone, your brain treats their words as important data. She remembers the name of your first dog. She remembers that you prefer your coffee black. She remembers the offhand comment you made about hating the sound of alarm clocks, and she starts sending you morning texts instead of calling. This is not coincidence. This is devotion in disguise. Now contrast this with a woman who has zero romantic interest in you. She might be perfectly friendly, perfectly warm, perfectly nice, and she will absolutely forget everything you tell her by Tuesday. Not because she's a bad person, but because her brain hasn't flagged your information as emotionally significant. The detail just doesn't stick. So here's the question worth asking yourself right now. Is there a woman in your life who consistently remembers the small things, the things you barely remember saying yourself? Because if the answer is yes, she hasn't chosen you randomly. She has chosen you. She is paying a level of attention to you that she is not paying to other people. And she has decided somewhere in that quiet space of her own thoughts that you matter enough to remember. The funny thing about this sign, when you bring it up, "Wait, how did you remember that?" She'll almost always minimize it. She'll say, "Oh, I just have a good memory," or "I don't know, it just came up." She will not say, "Because I think about you constantly, and I've been paying attention to every word that comes out of your mouth for 3 months." She will never say that. But now you know what it actually means. This one is subtle, and it's brilliant, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. A woman who has made up her mind about you will start manufacturing proximity, and she is so smooth about it that you'll think it's all a coincidence, because she needs you to think it's a coincidence. That's the whole strategy. She doesn't need help carrying those bags, but she's going to ask you anyway. She doesn't actually need someone to look over her presentation, but guess who she's sending it to? She's walking past your desk, not because her route makes any geographic sense, but because your desk is on the way to you. She shows up at the coffee shop you mentioned. She suggests working on the group project at the library at the same time you happen to study there. She happened to be in the neighborhood. Here's the science behind this. Physical proximity is one of the oldest predictors of attraction in psychology. Robert Zyonk's mere exposure effect, and which has been replicated hundreds of times, shows that the more often we are near someone, the more positively we feel toward them. Women who are already attracted to someone instinctively understand this on an intuitive level, even if they've never read a psychology textbook in their lives. She is creating opportunities to be near you because she wants you to become comfortable with her presence. She wants proximity to feel natural between you two. She wants you to reach a point where it would feel weird if she wasn't around. This is how she builds something without building it out loud. The telltale sign that separates this from regular friendliness? She does it consistently, and she does it almost exclusively with you. She's not finding reasons to be around everyone. She's not manufacturing situations with the whole group. It's specifically, quietly, repeatedly you. And every time she pulls it off, she probably goes home and gives herself the world's smallest internal high five. This is the one that gets me every single time because the body is the world's most honest communicator. And women know this, which is why they think they're hiding it, but they're absolutely not. When a woman has chosen you, her body starts doing things she has very little control over. And that's what makes this sign the most reliable of all. Watch her feet. This sounds ridiculous, but it's backed by serious research. Joe Navarro, a former FBI nonverbal communication expert, has written extensively on the fact that feet are the most honest part of the human body because people forget to control them. If she's sitting in a group conversation and her feet are pointed in your direction, her subconscious is pointing her entire being toward you. She might be looking at someone else, talking to someone else, laughing at someone else's joke, but her feet are loyal only to you. Watch her posture when you walk into a room. Does she subtly straighten up? Does her energy shift? Does she suddenly become slightly more animated, slightly more on? That's called preening behavior, and it is completely involuntary. It's the same reason peacocks open their feathers, the body preparing itself to be seen by someone it wants to impress. Watch what happens when you touch her. Even something completely innocent, like a hand on the shoulder or a brief touch on the arm. Does she lean into it? Does she find a natural reason to return the touch, or does she go slightly rigid and move away? A woman who has chosen you will almost always lean in. Not dramatically, just enough. And here's the one that will absolutely floor you. Watch her eyes when she laughs at something you say in a group setting. We all know that laughter is social glue, but the moment of laughter, that split second of genuine amusement, is when our eyes instinctively find the face of the person who matters most to us. It's involuntary, it's deeply human, and if every single time something funny happens in the group, her eyes find your face first, she is not doing that by accident. That is her heart pointing a tiny arrow directly at you. This is the deepest sign, and it's the one that makes the least surface level sense, which is exactly why it's so easy to miss. When a woman has decided she wants you, she starts caring about your feelings in a way that is completely disproportionate to the official relationship you two have. She's not your girlfriend. She's not even technically anything to you yet, but she acts like someone who is genuinely, personally affected by how your life is going. Bad day at work, she wants to know exactly what happened and who did this to you and what can she do. You mention you're stressed and she shows up with food, you're going through something difficult, and she's texting you at 11 p.m. to check in. Not because you asked her to, but because the thought of you struggling without support is something she cannot comfortably sit with. She is emotionally lobbying for a spot in your life. This is profoundly different from casual friendship. Casual friendship says, "That sucks. Hope it gets better." Chosen you behavior says, "Tell me everything. Who do I need to talk to? Can I help? Are you okay? No, really? Are you okay?" The emotional investment is specific, consistent, and just slightly too intense to make sense at face value. Dr. Helen Fisher, the biological anthropologist and love researcher at the Rutgers University Brain Imaging Center, found that romantic love activates the same neural pathways as addiction. When someone has caught romantic feelings, the other person's well-being becomes a neurological preoccupation. She is not choosing to care this much. She cannot help it. And here is the twist that makes this sign particularly poignant. While she is doing all of this caring, she is also watching to see if you'll reciprocate. She's not just giving, she is quietly auditing. She is checking whether you notice her, whether you ask how she's doing with the same energy, whether the emotional effort she's quietly putting in is landing anywhere at all. She has chosen you. She's just waiting to see if you'll choose her back. So let's bring this all together because I don't want you to leave this video with just a list of signs. I want you to leave with something that actually changes how you move. The theme running through all four of these signs is the same. It's quiet intention. It's a woman who has made a decision in the privacy of her own heart and is expressing it in every language except the verbal one. Because something in her needs to know it's safe before she makes it official. She's not being difficult, she's being human. And here's the part that deserves a full stop. The men who miss these signs don't miss them because they're oblivious. They miss them because no one ever told them what to look for. You were never taught this in school. No one handed you a manual. You've been operating on the assumption that if she wanted you, she would just say so. And now you know why that assumption has a 90% failure rate. So here's what I want you to do right now. Not tomorrow, right now. Think about one woman in your life. Just one. Run through these four signs. Does she remember your small details? Does she find ways to be near you that don't quite add up logically? Does her body tell a story her words never finish? Does she care about your emotional life at a level that seems out of proportion? If two or more of these are true, she's already chosen you. The only question left on the table is what you're going to do with that information. Because here's the thing nobody tells you about this moment. It has an expiration date. A woman who has chosen you and received no signal back will eventually start protecting herself. She'll pull back. She'll redirect. She'll show up to your birthday with someone else. And you'll stand there thinking, what happened? What happened is that she waited. She left all the signs out, and silence was the answer she eventually accepted. Don't be the person she gave up on. Now, before you go, I need you to do something. And I'm not going to ask you to subscribe or comment your zodiac sign or smash a bell. I'm going to do something far more useful. The video that is appearing on your screen right now, watch it. It is literally the exact next step from what we just covered. It's called 4 Clear Signs She's Already Chosen You But Won't Tell You. And before you say, wait, isn't that this video? Here's the genius part. That video goes deeper into the psychology of why women choose in silence, and more importantly, what specific words and behaviors from you either confirm or destroy her decision in real time. You've just learned how to read the signs. That video teaches you what to do after you've read them. It's the second half of a conversation we started right here. If you walk away now without watching it, you have half the picture. And half the picture is how people end up confused, friend-zoned, and watching someone they wanted from a distance. The video is right there. Tap it. Your future self, and possibly a very patient woman who's been waiting for you to figure this out, will thank you.